President Trump wants to open the country up again for business on May 1st. He says he has the ultimate authority to do so. The question tonight, is the president correct? I put that question to Kim Wehle. She's a constitutional law professor at American University Law School. She's also the legal analyst for CBS News.
Everybody's talking about the president claims he has ultimate authority to open the economy back up. Is he right?
No, he's incorrect as a constitutional matter, as a matter of law, and just as a pragmatic matter. He doesn't control, for example, private businesses, that's for sure. He can't tell Disney to open up Disney World again. And under the Constitution, he doesn't have that ultimate absolute authority that he claims. We all know that this is not a monarchy, it's not a dictatorship, it's a republic, and so his power is actually limited.
Okay, help me understand what the governors are doing. They're forming these regional partnerships. What's that about? And what does the Constitution say about this, if anything?
Well, the Constitution doesn't say much. Essentially, the way the Constitution works is the federal government gets a limited amount of power, and the president's power generally comes from Congress. So that's why Congress has passed statutes allowing the president to actually implement a national quarantine, for example, which he's decided not to do.
Right.
So the president can do stuff to help public health, but he can't do the opposite. He can't override states who traditionally actually have what's known as the police power. Individual states get to decide their own police force. They decide their own immunization schedules. They decide on their own public schools. All of those things are allowed under the 10th Amendment of the Constitution to go to the state. So it sounds like here, some governors are getting together and basically as a matter of just cooperation, deciding, listen, we're close to each other. Let's try to coordinate a response because, as we all know, the virus doesn't stop at borders and people don't stop at borders. We have the states that have borders, but they're really somewhat arbitrary historically. They don't mean anything for purposes of spreading the coronavirus.
Okay, you heard us talk about governors forming coalitions with neighboring states. Well, California Governor Gavin Newsom and New York Governor Andrew Cuomo, they've been very vocal about their plans. Governors around the country say their goal is to open slowly in an effort to avoid a second wave of illnesses and deaths.